Alright guys, our I Ready lesson for today, lesson 11. Lesson 11. So let's check out the table of contents, guys. You can see we're still in multiplying whole numbers for this week, multiplying a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number. Alright, so let's check out our directions. Basically, we're finding the product. The product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So all we're doing is finding the product for today. All right, so let's check out number one. All right, number one, we have 3 problems set up. All right, so let's check out our first one, guys. 500 times 4. The easiest way to do these problems, guys, get your basic multiplication fact. 5 times 4. 5 times 4, which is 20. All right, and then how many zeros do you see? You see 2 zeros, tack on 2 zeros. 500 times 4 is 2,000. 2,000, comma. All right. Another way you could do this, you could go ahead and, do it 500 times 4. All right. We start with our units place. 4 times 0 is 0. Next, we go to our tens place. 4 times 0 is 0. And then we go to our hundreds place. 4 times 5 is 20. So essentially what you're doing here is you're distributing this 4 to the units place, to the tens place, and then to the hundreds place. So you're multiplying 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 5 is 20. All right. So our next problem, we have 501 times 4. If you look back at this one, 500 times 4 is 2,000. This time we have 501, which is 1 more than 500. So 501 times 4 is simply going to be adding 1 more 4 to 2,000. So our product would be 2,004. All right, and we'll look at it this way right here. 501 times 4. We're going to distribute our 4 to our ones place. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 0 is 0. And then 4 times 5 is 20. So 501 times 4, the product would be 2,004. So you can see we have 501, which is 1 more than 500. So we're basically adding 1 more 4 to 2,000, which gives us 2,400. And the same goes for this one. This time, if you look at 500 times 4, we have 500 here, we have 506. So you're going to be taking 6 more 4s and adding 6 more 4s to 2,000. So 6 times 4 is 24. So add 24 to 2,000 and you get 2,024. 2024. All right, so let's check it out here. We have 506 times 4. All right, we're going to distribute our 4 to our ones place, our 4 to our tens, and our 4 to our hundreds. So 4 times 6 gives me a product of 24. Remember, you cannot put 2 numbers in one place value. All right, so we have to put our 4 in our units place and carry our 2 above our tens place. Next, we distribute the 4 to the tens place. 4 times 0 is 0. Add your 2 would give me 2. And then finally, we distribute our 4 to our hundreds place. 4 times 5 would give me a product of 20. The product of 506 times 4 is 2024. Alright, number 2. Let's start off with 300 times 2. So remember, let's find our basic multiplication fact, which is 2 times 3, which is 6. And then how many zeros do you see? You see a total of 2 zeros. Add 2 zeros. 300 times 2 is 600. Alright, let's look at it here. If you do 300 times 2, we're going to distribute the 2 to our units place, tens place, hundreds place. 2 times 0 will give me a product of 0. 2 times 0 will give me a product of 0. And finally, 2 times 3 will give me a product of 6. The product of 300 times 2 is 600. All right, let's look at our next problem. 299 is 1 less than 300. So we are going to take 2 away from 600, which gives me a product of 598. 598. Now let's check it out down here. We have 299 times 2. All right, we're going to distribute our 2 out to each place. This is our 2 to our units, our 2 to our tens, and our 2 to our hundreds. 2 times 9 will give me a product of 18. And remember, we have to put 1 digit in each place. Carry the 1 above our tens. Now distribute the 2 to our tens place. 2 times 9 is 18. Add your 1 would give me 19. So we put the 9 in the tens place. Carry the 1 to our hundreds place. And then finally, we take 2 and distribute it to the hundreds place. 2 times 2 is 4. Add your 1. So we now have 5 hundreds. Our product of 299 times 2 is 598. All right, let's check out our last one here. 298 is 2 less than 300. So 2 times 2 is 4. So we're going to take 4 away from 600, which will give me a product of 596. All right, let's check it out right here. 298 times 2. All right, we're going to distribute our 2 to our units place. 2 times 8 is 16. So what I'm saying right here is we have 16 ones. You're unable to put 16 ones in the units place. So we have to regroup, and we're essentially taking 1 10 away, and we're bringing this 10 up above our tens place here. So 2 times 8 is 16. So 16 ones would be 6 ones and 1 10 above our tens place. Next, 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 1 would be 19. So we have 19 tens. So we're going to put 9 tens in here and carry 10 tens over here, which will turn to 1 100. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. We have 500. So we have 5 100s. So 298 times 2 would be 596. All right, so let's look at number 3. We have 400 times 3. Let's get our basic multiplication fact. So we know it's 3 times 4, which is 12. And how many zeros do you see? 2. So 400 times 3 is 1,200. All right, let's check it out. 400 times 3. We're going to distribute our 3 to our units place, tens place, and hundreds place. 3 times 0 will give me a 0. 3 times 0 will give me a product of 0. And finally, 3 times 4 will give me a product of 12. So 400 times 3 gives me a product of 1,200. Alright, so we can see that our next one is 405, which is 5 more than 400. So 5 times 3 is 15. So it's going to be 15 more than 1,200, which will give me a product of 1,215. Alright, I'm going to use partial products on this one. So we have 405 times 3. So when you do partial products, you're finding the value of each number. So put this number into expanded form. We know the value of the 4 in the hundreds place is 400. And we're going to multiply that by 3, which equals 1,200. Alright, and then the value of the 0 is 0, so we will not multiply our 10 by anything because 3 times 0 is 0. And the value of the 5 is 5 times 3. And the product would be 15. It's so important in everything you do to always line up your units, your tens, your hundreds, and your thousands. So we've multiplied 3 by 400, and we've multiplied 3 by 5. So we're finished with our partial products. Let's add up all those together, and you get a total product of 1,215. Alright, and let's check out our very last one here. Alright, so we have 410, which is 10 more than 400. And I know 10 times 3 is 30. So it's going to be 1,200 plus 30, which will give me a product of 1,230. Alright, so 410 times 3. I know 400 times 3 will give me a product of 1,200. And then I know that 3 times 10 will give me a product of 30. And 3 times 0, the value of 0 is 0, so there's no reason to do it. So we have our partial products. And let's get our total product. Add those two together, you get 1,230. So our final product of 410 times 3 would be 1,230. Alright, number 4, 499 times 6. Distribute our 6 to our units place. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 5 is 59. And then finally, 6 times 4 is 24, plus 5, which is 29. So our product of 499 times 6 would be 2,994. Alright, now I want to show you how I would do this mentally. So if I see this problem right here, I know 499 is one less than 500. So in my head, I would do 500 times 6. And I know that 5 times 6 is 30. I see 2 zeros, add 2 zeros. And remember I said that 499 is one less than 500. So in my mind, I can quickly subtract 3,000 minus 6, which would be 2,994. All right, number 5, 706 times 3. Let's distribute the 3 to our units, tens, and hundreds. 3 times 6 gives me a product of 18. 3 times 0 will give me a product of 0 plus 1 would be equal to 1. And then finally, 3 times 7 will give me 21 hundreds. So the product of 706 times 3 will be 2,118. All right, if I were to do this problem mentally, which I love doing, and you guys, a lot of you are already there. Some of you are going to be there very soon. Just got to learn those basic multiplication facts. I would do 700 times 3. That'll give me 2,100. And then I know that 6 times 3. So essentially what I'm doing here, guys, I do partial products in my head. Equals 18. And then I add those two together, you get 2,118. So when I do stuff mentally, I use partial products. All right, number 6, 195 times 5. Let's distribute the 5 to our units place. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 9 is 45 plus 2, which is 47. And finally, 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So our product of 195 times 5 is 975. If I were to do this mentally, I would do 200 times 5, which will give me a product of 1,000. And I know that 195 is 5 less than 200. So 5 times 5 is 25. So I would do minus 25. And I would arrive, and if you can't do this, you know, you got to do your trading. Turn this to a 0, 9, 9, 10, and you get a difference of 975. So our final product is 975. All right, number 7. It says, what pattern do you notice in problem 2? How could it help you solve a problem such as 297 times 2? Well, you can see we have 300, we have 299, we have 298, then 297. So each time I'm one less, and then finally one less. So we take 2 away from 600, get 598. Take 2 away from 598, get 596. And then finally we'll take 2 away from 596 to arrive at 594. And let's check our work just to make sure we got it right. 297 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19. And then finally, 2 times 2 plus 1 will give me 5. So if we look at each one, you have 600, 598, 596, 594. Each time, we're going to be 2 less. Minus 2, minus 2, minus 2. So our pattern is subtract 2 each time.
Choose problem 4, 5, or 6. Explain how you can check your answer.
Alright guys, so for this problem right here, I decided to choose problem number 6. 195 times 5, which equals 975. So when you're checking your work for division, what you would want to do, or excuse me, for multiplication, what you would want to do is use division. All right, so we have 975 divided by 5. All right, 5 goes into 9 a total of 1 time. 1 times 5, 1 times 5 will give me a product of 5. 9 minus 5 will equal 4. Bring down your 7. All right, start the whole process over. 5 goes into 47 9 times. 9 times 5 equals 45. 47 minus 45 will give me a difference of 2. Bring down your 5. And finally, we have 5 goes into 25 5 times. And then 5 times 5 will equal 25. And subtract. 25 minus 25 is 0. So our remainder is 0. And we can see that 195 equals 195. So whenever you're checking your work, guys, for multiplication, always use division. And vice versa. If you want to check your work for division, you can use multiplication.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. See you, dudes. And good day.